Hi everyone, this is a new video all about how to rapid charge your car and how to plan a journey where you know you'll need rapid charging. So it's aimed at EV newbies, so we might have some people on the channel who just know how to do this and it's second nature. But if you, like me, wanted a bit of practice on how to explain to friends and family how to charge their car when they're new to EVs, then perhaps this is useful for you to pass on to them. I certainly didn't coach my brother how to charge an EV, and he was making all sorts of silly mistakes on the on his first few trips. So maybe this will be useful. So without further ado, my first tip is that you will be charging at home on a Type 2 cable, which is only this, and you might not know what this is about or that you need it for rapid charging. And so this is a video by Ecotricity and Robert Llewellyn, and it'll just show you that plugging in at home with a Type 2 cable, this may actually be a Type 1, but never mind, it might be an old one. You need to take the bung off. These two on the bottom are your DC rapid charging pins, and this is what it looks like on the screens. Okay, so that's the first tip. You need to know your car and know that you've got CCS and how to get to it. The next thing I would suggest is learn the real world range of your car. You may have been commuting to and back from work, taking the kids to school clubs, all that sort of thing, and be getting, in the summer, 360 miles in your car, like mine is shown on the dash once. But if I set off at 80 miles an hour on the motorway, in winter, there ain't no chance, no matter what it says on my dash, that I'm getting that range when I'm driving 80 on the motorway, unless I'm slipstreaming some sort of crazy lorry going that fast. So what you really need to know is what the real range in different situations is of your car. And my biggest suggestion here is to go on EV Database and look up these suggestions of what it might be. Now, do be aware that, and this is a little bit pessimistic, as it says here, cold weather is worst case based on -10 and using heating a lot. So it might be, and I've never had it this low, that in cold weather that it goes down to -170. I have never had it display less than 210, 220 miles. And that was with the roof box on at -3, blowing a gale. So yeah, it might not quite be that bad, but just have an idea that it is going to be a little less. And so in summer, driving at highway speeds, you are going to get it a bit lower. Whereas, yeah, you might get up to 360, and I have seen that on the dash if I've been driving slow in summer weather on repeated charges. So just have an idea, you are going to go a little bit less on the same battery because you're going to be using more fuel, you're going to be using more electricity going the same miles because you're driving much faster, which is, very common. So one of the things you can do is you can use some mapping software. So this is a real-world journey that I've done before when I went down to do some filming in Weymouth. So I live up in Whitley Bay, up here on the Newcastle coast, and I've just put my details in here, and I've said I'm going to set off with 100% charge. I've put my car in there, and it said it's done me a route based on their algorithm. But as you can see, it wants me to stop in Nottingham here. So let's view the details of this and where it wants me to stop. So it wants me to stop in an Instavolt Berrystow Lane, Instavolt charge 85p a kilowatt hour, which is one of the most expensive rapid chargers. So you might not want to follow these suggestions. And the next is that it wants me to stop at another Instavolt. So it really wants me to spend my money. And you can see that I'm doing a reasonably big charge here from 26% to 71. So you're not getting too anxious that it's getting too low. You're not waiting there too long. And the second one, it wants me to stop. It's showing the different connectors as well. So it's really quite useful, but there's different speeds there. There's 160s of CCS. There's only a 70 as well. So beware, the one fast one might get used, and some of the other ones have slower connectors. So that's something to think about. But on a 6-hour journey, there'll be an hour of charging. So unless you want your journey to take an extra hour, you really want to plan your stops for when you might be hungry. So how long is it going to take to drive to Berrystow? Well, the first stop is 2 hours and 23 minutes. That doesn't seem so bad, but when your car has a range of 242 miles, do you really want to stop after 150? Perhaps it's got quite a pessimistic idea of what the range might be, so in different scenarios. So do check that it actually makes sense to stop there. Do check that, well, yeah, after 2.5 hours, yeah, I probably do want to stop for attention span and a drink and a pee and maybe some food for the kids and all that sort of thing. So that's one way of doing it. And you can see it's got a color coded for your battery state of charges. So while it's high, it's green, and then as it gets lower and lower and lower, it goes orange. And you can set how happy you are to go low. So I think in this I said that I was happy to go to 15% at arrival. But you need a charger there, so you might want to check that your destination actually has a charger. That's one way you can do it. This is through Octopus Electroverse. And if you want a $5 off Octopus Electroverse, please see the description below, and I'll put a link up for my referral code. You can get the app with this code. You get a $5 off, I get a $5 credit as well, so we both win. ZapMap is another option, and that's something you can do as well. Oh, I didn't press calculate. That was silly. But you can see here that it's saying that the real world range mile is 265, and you can actually adapt that. And you can tell it to suggest charges, or you can set it to show all charges. So that's a nice feature that you can say, well, actually, no, you say that, but I drive at 60 on the motorway, not 70 or 80, so I know that I go a bit further. So if I can say, oh, well, actually, I'm just going to be disciplined, I'm going to stick to 60 or 65, and I'm going to put that up to 280, or I know it's good weather and it's hot, or my tyres are extra low rolling resistance, or this, that, and the other. You can set that a bit higher if you like. And then you can say, well, I definitely don't need to stop in Teesside. I definitely don't need to stop in North Yorkshire. So I reckon I can get down to somewhere here, and you can check out the chargers to see if you think they look good. So what's this one here? Ooh, here we go. Markham Vale services on the northbound side. So you probably cannot get in those. You can come off the motorway and you can come round. Good. So what have you got? You've got EV Point. So let's have a look at them if we can. It's a bit fiddly, isn't it? So you'd actually be doing this on the app on your phone. You can see the download app thing up there. But let's see if we can drag this down and see what it is. If we've got a price, 75p a kilowatt hour. So that's slightly cheaper than some of the Gridso ones. So you might think that's acceptable. Or you could come further down, but so you've got to look at how far am I going to come off. And what is there. So there's a Tesla public supercharger on this one. So there's an open supercharger. That's great. And it looks like you're buying McDonald's. It looks like you're buying a designer outlet. It's 161 miles. You use 42% of your battery. So you might think that's acceptable as a stop. Or you might think, oh, I've got loads of battery left. I can go a bit further. So it all depends on how far you want to push it, how happy your load to go down, and what the temperature's like, if you're going to lose any extra range. If it's absolutely blowing a gale, you might get a lot less far, and you might have different ideas about how far you are happy going off the highway. But if you just wanted to stay on the services, travel services add more. I've been there before when there was only the original 50 kilowatt things, but it looks like they've added more. Let's have a look. So they've got one double-headed 240, and they've got two double-headed 240, and they've got three, but we might want to check that their cables haven't been cut. The Midlands is notorious for having their cables cut, so maybe that's happened, although the network's saying it's fine, but a user said it's broken. So that's useful about ZapMap. They've got status updates. So one of the things I'd recommend is just having a look on Google Maps first for how long it is, which route you might want to take, etc. What seems the most efficient to you. So that's something you can do. You could also say, well, I've got a subscription with Ionity, so I want to check how Ionity should do it, and they've got their own route planner. Lots of the different CPOs have built a route planner. They've had some software engineers, and Ionity say that, oh, perhaps you want to stop in Doncaster. So I'll have only been driving 2 hours, but maybe that's a reasonable time for a break. And this, I looked up Ionity Doncaster, and it is actually right by a kids' playground and stuff. Although I'm not sure there's other amenities. Is there a village hotel? There's a village hotel, so you can probably get a coffee and things in there and a toilet, and charge only a little bit for a quick refresher before going on to West Brom for your big charge from 10 to 80%. And they've even got the estimated price of how much energy you would use and how much energy you're paying. And I think I've put in this is on the higher passport rate or their higher subscription rate. And then from there, you could make it all the way to your destination if you're happy with your battery percentage being low when you arrive there. And I know this place there is lots of destination chargers in car parks. One thing you might want to think about is, well, it's saying just go to Doncaster, but check that from your destination and say, well, do I only want to go 121 miles? My car can go twice that distance. Maybe I can push on. Or you might think, yeah, we're all going to be hungry by that time, or we all want to stretch our legs or go to the bathroom or something. So have a look on Google Maps again for where it's suggesting you to go to see if that's a reasonable idea. And then, yes, let's check the amenities. So, yes, I did do this earlier. And it's going to be variable whether a cricket club lets you in, but there is a little playground for kids here, and it does look like there's a Holiday Inn that might let you use their bar and cafe and toilets and things. So that's reasonable, and it is right by the motorway, so you're not going to lose a lot of spaces. But it's not right by a McDonald's for etc. But perhaps you could go to this bigger park for stretch your legs for adults. So yeah, that's something to think about. You could also look up the charge point operator you're subscribed to's website, and not use the journey planner, but just see what the alternatives are. And so instead of going to Doncaster, which is higher up here, you could carry on and push past. And some of these don't exist yet, like the two in Nottingham and the one in Leicester are all being built, but the one in Coventry, which is this one, does exist, and you can see how many they are and their status updates, and then you can put that into your journey plan and say, ooh, does that sound better? Because I know that Coventry is right by where is Rugby? Right by Rugby, and there's a huge grid-serve charger here. So if for some reason these are all broken, then you've got a nice alternative just here with lots and lots of chargers, 24 grid-serve, 24 Teslas at least. And that's it. So let me know if you think that's a reasonable way to go about it. Have you got any other tips that you would tell friends and relatives, or would you do things a completely different way? The reason here I've chosen Ionit is because the subscriptions are fairly cheap. You can do it for £7 for the first month to reduce the cost from 74p a kilowatt hour down to 43, and you break even in only 30 kilowatt hours. I think it's 26 actually. And it makes EV motoring cheaper than petrol, even on rapid chargers. So do bear that in mind. So if you're going to charge them more than once, on a big journey like this, you'd probably charge once or twice. Then you can really make cost-effective savings. Right, so I'll see you in the next one, guys. Let me know if you've got anything to say. Like, comment, subscribe, and look at the referral codes below. If you are stuck with using an Instavolt, I've got a referral code here. For you can get £5 off, and I get a £5 credit as well. As long as you use more than 10 kilowatt hours of charge. All right, see you in the next one. Bye.